Maurice and Kimmi's relationship had always been a subject of curiosity for fans of Love and Marriage Huntsville. The couple seemed to have it all: a strong family bond, a shared business venture, and the kind of chemistry viewers could only dream of. But behind the cameras, things weren't as picture-perfect as they appeared. There were quiet whispers, subtle tensions, and emotional strains that nobody truly saw coming. And then came the moment that shocked everyone. It wasn't just an argument or a heated exchange. No, it was something far more intense, a slap that echoed louder than words ever could. Maurice, often portrayed as the calm and collected partner in the relationship, found himself blindsided when Kimmi, usually the composed and steady one, finally snapped. It happened on set, during what was supposed to be a casual, controlled discussion among the cast members. Kimmi had been holding in a lot for months, and the pressure had been building. But what caused her to explode? What did Maurice say that pushed her to the brink? And how did the entire cast react when things took a dramatic turn? To understand that, let's rewind and look at the events leading up to this shocking moment. It wasn't as if the tension between Maurice and Kimmi appeared out of nowhere. In fact, it had been brewing for a long time. Fans of the show had started to notice subtle shifts in Kimmi's demeanor. Gone were the warm smiles and the easy grace she was known for. Instead, her expressions seemed forced, her body language distant. She wasn't engaging in the same way she used to, and her usual calm presence started to fade. What fans didn't know was that Maurice had been pushing hard for a specific public image of their relationship. He wanted to project a certain narrative, one of a powerful couple, successful in business and life, with the kind of story that brands would love to endorse. Maurice had always been focused on the bigger picture, the business side of things. But for Kimmi, this wasn't just about appearing perfect for the cameras. It was about authenticity, and she felt like she was being pushed into a role that wasn't true to their reality. At the same time, Kimmi had been navigating some deeply personal struggles. Her health battle, the emotional weight of managing a blended family, and the pressure of being constantly in the public eye were taking their toll. For her, the show had become a space that wasn't just about their relationship, it was also about her personal strength. Yet, as Maurice pushed for more public exposure and image building, Kimmi felt increasingly trapped in a life that wasn't entirely hers, and so, the stage was set. The cameras were rolling, the cast members were seated around a table, and the mood was already tense. The producers had set this scene up as a moment for open dialogue, where unresolved issues among the couples could finally be aired. But what nobody expected was that Maurice would drop a bombshell that would shift the entire dynamic of the room. As the conversation picked up, Maurice, in his usual manner, tried to take control of the situation. He leaned forward, his voice rising just enough to make everyone in the room stop and listen. "You act like being my wife is a burden," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Maybe you forgot I was the one who saved you." Those words hit Kimmi like a punch to the gut. It wasn't just the content of the statement, it was the delivery. Maurice wasn't speaking with empathy or understanding, it was as if he was reminding Kimmi of something she should be grateful for. But Kimmi had been through so much, including her own health battle and the heavy load of balancing her personal and professional life, and to hear Maurice, in front of everyone, reduce her struggles to the idea that he had somehow saved her was a slap in the face. The room went silent. Even the crew, who had been behind the scenes filming this entire time, couldn't believe what they had just heard. Maurice had crossed a line, and Kimmi knew it. She had always carried herself with grace, never letting things get too messy or out of control, but this was different. This was too much. After Maurice tried to laugh off the tension, saying, "I mean, come on babe, you know it's true," Kimmi's reaction changed. The composed woman who had always held everything in checked her emotions and steeled herself. But this time, she couldn't. She stood up, walked over to Maurice, and in a move that no one saw coming, slapped him across the face. It wasn't a loud, dramatic scene, it was a single, powerful slap that resonated through the room. Kimmi didn't yell or shout, there was no rage in her voice. Instead, there was a quiet intensity, a rawness that conveyed a message louder than any words could have. Maurice sat there, stunned, his face reddening as he processed what had just happened. The room was still. cast members were frozen in place. Even Marcel, who was usually quick with a comment, dropped his drink in shock. Tisha gasped. And the producers, who had no idea how to handle this, were left scrambling. Should they cut the cameras? Should they stop the filming? It was an intense moment, and they knew that they had just captured something that couldn't be ignored, but there was more to this than just a slap. Maurice didn't get up. He didn't chase after Kimmi to apologize or try to fix things. Instead, he stayed seated, looking lost and unsure. According to reports, he told one of the producers, "I don't even know who she is anymore." It was a chilling statement, one that made it clear that Maurice was blindsided, but also one that hinted at the emotional divide that had been growing between them for some time. Kimmi, on the other hand, didn't break down. She didn't cry. She didn't sit back down and pretend like everything was fine. Instead, she stood her ground, looked Maurice in the eye, and said, "I will never let you rewrite my story just to make yourself look strong." That was the turning point. Kimmi wasn't just angry. She was done, but even in that moment of conflict, there was an unexpected response from the cast. Tishascott, despite her own history of tension with Kimmi, was the first to rush over to her, not to fight, but to calm her down. And yet, the words Tisha whispered to Kimmi, "Girl, it's not worth it," only made the situation more complicated. Meanwhile, Marcel, who had been silent throughout, was overheard muttering, "This is about to go viral." And he wasn't wrong. Within moments, producers were already discussing whether to continue filming or to shut things down, but they knew what they had just captured was raw and real. After the camera stopped rolling, the aftermath was even more revealing. The cast quickly split into two sides, those who supported Kimmi and those who defended Maurice. Marceau, a close friend of Maurice's, was reportedly trying to pull him aside and tell him to fix the narrative before it spiraled out of control. Meanwhile, Stormy Steele, who had been vocal about her own experiences on the show, told producers, "Y'all better not cut that. The world needs to see what real disrespect looks like." And then came the most shocking moment, an anonymous leak. Someone, seemingly from the production team, uploaded a grainy 14-second clip of the slap to Twitter. It didn't have audio, but it showed Kimmi mid-slap and Maurice's stunned reaction. Within 24 hours, the video had over 3.2 million views. Fans were divided. Some rallied behind Kimmi, saying she had been holding this in for years. Others took aim at Maurice, accusing him of emotional manipulation and gaslighting Kimmi in front of the cameras for years, but the leaks didn't stop there. Soon, an uncensored audio recording surfaced. In it, Maurice could clearly be heard saying the words that had sparked the outburst, "I don't care what you think your worth is. I built this family. I made you relevant." Those words hit hard. They painted Maurice as someone who not only didn't understand Kimmi's worth but who had been using her for his own gain. And the backlash from fans was swift and fierce. By the time the episode aired, Love and Marriage Huntsville had transformed from a reality show about a group of couples to a full-blown drama that blurred the lines between entertainment and real-life conflict. Maurice was set to appear on a live stream, claiming he would tell the real truth about what went down. Kimmi, however, remained quiet. Her team posted a single line on her Instagram story. "When a woman is fed up, she doesn't always yell. Sometimes she walks. Sometimes she slaps." As the fallout continued to unfold, the public was left with more questions than answers. What does this mean for Kimmi and Maurice? Will their marriage survive the chaos? And how will their relationship, once an example of strength and unity, ever be the same again? What's clear is that this wasn't just a moment of drama, it was a breaking point, one that exposed the cracks in a marriage that many never saw coming. But in the world of reality TV, the drama is never really over. It's just a matter of what happens next.